A friend of mine came out with a tractor and helped me renovate my backyard. We started by modifying the side yard fence so this tractor would fit. And then he came in here with his tractor and a bucket and pulled out 1,000 pounds of blackberries, as it turns out. Blackberry bushes. We took them to the dump, and yeah, it was 1,000 pounds of blackberry bushes. So I've been doing my best to keep the yard going properly. We seeded the yard. As you can see, there are some bald spots, unfortunately. We just didn't seem to get enough seed in, or it just didn't take. And there on the other side, there's a big bald spot there. And that bald spot, I think, is mostly because it's out of reach of my sprinkler. My sprinkler is big enough to get the main section of the yard, but does not get that section of the yard. So I'll probably have to wait till spring and reseed that and move the sprinkler. So as you can see, we've got some weeds. I've got some weeds. They grew in much quicker than the grass did. So I'm gonna have to use some weed and feed in the fall to get rid of the weeds and keep the lawn properly fertilized. But it's looking good. In fact, it looks way better than my front yard, which gets no love other than mowing. So when I weed and feed, I'll probably do the front yard too, because it looks pretty bad. So I can't push a spreader, to use to weed and feed the yard. So I purchased a pull behind spreader, that one right there. It was over $100, and it's garbage. Very many of the spreaders I looked at are garbage, but I figure they can make it work. You're supposed to reach back and use this handle to adjust the amount of feed you're going to get while you're mowing. The seat of my mower is not actually at the back of the mower, and there's just no way to reach it. So I'm gonna buy a 4-inch linear actuator, and then I'm going to extend this tube right here out this way to mount it, and then I will attach it to the shaft of this handle and use that. I'll wire it to a 12-volt battery, a small one, which can set right in there, and I'll put a forward and reverse switch on the left-hand side of the mower, probably held on with Velcro, so that I can take it out when I don't need it, and then just run a wire across, which will have a connector on it, so I can disconnect it when not needed. The big problem I ran into right away with this spreader is the construction. It's poorly engineered. This hitch area here, let me see if I can get it in the picture. There we go. This hitch area here, this metal tube stuck in here another inch beyond here, and when attached to the back of my mower, would not actually allow this thing to swivel around. So you couldn't really tow it, unless you didn't feel like making any turns. So I cut an inch of that off, and now I get plenty of swivel, turns just fine, and it'll be great. One thing it came with was a hitch pin, which was basically a hitch pin that would drop down through there, and then a cotter pin goes on the other side. Well, sitting in my wheelchair, I can't reach underneath there, to put a cotter pin in. I can't get down low enough. So I went on Amazon yesterday, and I found this. It's a nice big hitch pin, 1/2-inch diameter, and it's got a rare earth magnet on top. So it takes a few pounds of force to pull it up, but it'll stay just fine. And the handle's big enough that I can actually grip it. One other issue I had with the mower, and it's not the mower's fault, it's mine, is that I'm too short. So to transfer on and off the mower, I have to move the seat back so that my left, I transfer on from this side. So I get my left leg to clear the steering column. I have to move the seat back or I can't transfer onto the mower. And then I had to push the seat all the way forward to reach the go pedal. Problem being is all the way forward, and with my obesity, the steering wheel is almost rubbing my belly, and it's an uncomfortable position to drive in. So this afternoon, I dug up a bit of 2x4 I had sitting around the house and a couple of hose clamps from Napa down the street and attached it to the go pedal on my mower. And then for traction for my shoe, I added 9 little rubber pads. So that should help pretty well. And that's on there pretty solid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's sitting pretty flat. It can't move. I used a impact driver and torqued it down pretty tight. So that has been my project. Now I can hopefully work on the yard with a little less effort.